Hello, hello. Oh, right, well at least this is working now. Is the sound working? Is the picture working? Can anybody hear me? Hello, Miss Maddie. Hi, baby. How you doing? Hi. Hi, Bobby. Hello. How you doing? Hi there. Hello. Hi. Hello. Yes, you can hear me. Awesome. Hi, Susan, Jen, Jane. Got a new project today. New project. Want to see? Of course you want to see. I've had, you know when you get the bugs, they just in the back of your brain. And I've got one. And my bug says, you want to play with Victorian stuff and junk journals and Gothic literature and gothy stuff and Victoriana, etc. My brain is like, you want to play with this, you want to play with this. And then ideabook.se, excuse me, I've just had rice for lunch. It's got a bit stuck in my tooth. Ideabook.se, she's a Swedish girl, does the most amazing Filofaxes. Every time I see one of her Filofaxes, even though it's not really my style, kind of also is, and it makes me want a Filofax. Now we all know from previous experience that I'm not a big Filofax person. I don't like the rings. As a daily thing, it just doesn't work for me. But I do keep a commonplace book. My brown Midori has had a 0013 insert in it, you know, one of those super thin ones. And of course, having had the tiniest writing in the world up until about 6 months ago, when my shoulder and my eyesight will no longer allow me to write tiny. So I've had to change my handwriting, literally. And I've gone to a more cursive script. But up until recently... Hey! Come nosy! Get off my desk. Scooby's actually climbing on the writing desk. Little bugger. Yeah, up until fairly recently, minuscule writing, so you can imagine how many centuries it took me to fill one of those books. But I'm finally down to the last 2 pages. Yes! And I thought, you know what? If I only use it occasionally, I think I could handle a Filofax, especially if it was really freaking cool. And then, the other day, I stumbled across Mrs. Coggs. Never heard of Mrs. Coggs before. Apparently her name is Elizabeth. Hi Elizabeth, if you ever watch this. Mrs. Coggs has a Malden. A purple Malden. And all I saw was one photograph. It was open on the table. It had Victorian lace all down one side. It had a beautiful vintage image on the front, and I was like, bang, 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 bang. All the dominoes fell into place, and I went, right, that's it. I'm doing it. So I spent the last few days digging out this puppy. Some of you will remember this from quite a while ago. This is one of my first Filofaxes. Actually, the very first one I had, and the one I really... Not the very first one I had, but the one I really would like to use is my black chino. But my black chino is literally vintage already. It was my mum's. The cover is that beautiful moleskin type fabric, and I just can't bring myself to do anything on the cover that would hurt the cover. But this thing, this is a little workhorse. It gets shoved full of crap, and as you can see, because it's got this really long strap on the front, which stays put, it really does hold a whole ton of crap. So if you're going to do a vintage type junk journal Filofax type thing, obviously you want something that's going to be able to do that. So here we are. Let me just see if I can swing that camera around so it's a little bit straighter. Otherwise I'll keep feeling like I have to put everything on an angle, and I don't really need to do that at all. Yeah, so here we are, and I'm going to have a play. I have no expectations for this project beyond I want to make something cool. I just want something cool to make. It's fun. Here we are. But if it comes out all right, I will use it for a while. Why not? So I've pulled out some stuff to play with. This is a necklace that I absolutely adore. It's from Claire's Accessories. I've got 3 of them with different designs on. And this one, I think this one is almost identical to the other one, but I prefer the other one because the skull on the other one looks more realistic. The skull on this one looks a bit kind of Pirates of the Caribbean-ish. You know what I mean? It's a bit Disney. But it's still the most beautiful thing. Up until recently I did wear it, but I took it off the cord to put my topaz on just before Christmas, and I haven't taken this off since. So I thought I'd put this on a charm, put it on one of these lobster type clips, and I guess I can hang that off here until I feel like wearing it. And then, you know, perhaps I can put this on my journal instead. Why not? I'm going to keep calling it a journal, aren't I? I don't know. Commonplace writer's notebook type diary, junk journal type thing. I've also got this, which is part of the Graphic 45 Steampunk collection. I've got all the charms for that, but this is my favourite, the clock. So that'll probably end up in here. I've also got all the Graphic 45 papers. As you can see, I do use them. This is an off-cut one, but I didn't have time to get all those out as well. And today I want to concentrate on the cover anyway and just getting started with it. But yeah, I've got those I can play with. I've got a various. Look at him. Oh, isn't he awesome? He's a Halloween decoration. He's actually a Victorian Halloween decoration. It's just so cool. I just think it's hilarious. Look at that goat's face. Oh, I'm sure there's somebody in the audience going, oh, you know, but all this Victoriana type spooky stuff, just, it tickles me. It really tickles me. And I have to, he's going to have to go in somewhere. He may even end up at the front, to be honest, because he's awesome. And he makes me laugh. And we are going for Victorian Gothic, which is over the top, melodramatic. You know, we're talking, I think I want to stick with female writers and Victorians, and, you know, obviously Queen Victoria's going to be in there somewhere. I've got a copy of Queen Victoria's sketchbook, not the actual book, obviously, the printed book of Queen Victoria's sketchbook, that's what it's called. And of course, the book itself is copyright, but the images that she drew are now out of copyright. So her pictures are public domain. So I'm going to flip through there, have a look and see what I can find that I really like. And then I'll go on to the British Library and see if I can download their copies, public domain copies, to print them out. I've got these postcards. I don't know what these are from. I think they might be Tim Holtz. The look on the goat's face is priceless, isn't it? I just love him. He's so funny. And what makes it even funnier is that it's got real hands. You know, it's like it's a skull, but it's got real hands. Oh, it's hilarious. Anyway. It tickles my sense of humour. I know it's not everybody's thing, and not everybody likes dark and gothic, but I do. and the darker the better, especially if it's hilariously funny. Yeah, anyway, I think these are Tim Holtz ones. I'm not sure. I've just got some old pieces, like, you know, this kind of stuff I can use to fold letters into and tuck in pockets. I've got bits and pieces like this. These may or may not end up going in. This is obviously not a Victorian page, but it is from a Victorian originally the Victorian book, and then it's a reprint of the page that's not Victorian, but that's okay. It still looks like the original book. That's be fine. I've got various, this is off Pixabay. Again, obviously not entirely Victorian. We've got modern 1930s cameras. We've got pictures of the war. Yeah, various things that are not, it's obviously turn of century kind of thing, but I don't care. As long as it fits the aesthetic and I look at it and go, oh, I really like that, then it's good. This is also off Pixabay. Was it off Pixabay or was it Graphics Fairy? I can't remember. Honestly can't remember. I think this might be Graphics Fairy. There's a ton of cool old stuff that people scan and put up. The freebies is all I use off it, but, you know, sign up for the newsletter. She sends a new set out every week. Got some kind of steampunky type stuff as well, which is why I don't mind things like the slightly later cameras and stuff being in there, because why not? You know, that kind of thing. I've got this little girl on a typewriter. I'm pretty sure she's not Victorian. I'm fairly sure. Look at her black cat. It doesn't actually, I can't actually see Flint 134. I don't know who the photographer, Flint is the photographer, but again, I can't remember where this came from, but almost everything I use is either public domain or it's been put out as a free printable by somebody else and confirmed to be public domain. The three main places I get stuff from is the Graphics Fairy, which is a good place to find really unusual stuff that you don't find everywhere, because a lot of people scan stuff that they have in their personal collections. Oh, hey Vicky! There's also Pixabay, which is a lot of arty folks who like to make graphics and things like that, make digital background papers and all sorts of things. Fantastic for printing out stuff like that. She may even have been from there, I honestly don't know. And there's the British Library. This is definitely from the Graphics Fairy, because I remember the girl saying that she'd added the tints to the colour. So they didn't print very well, I used the wrong paper. But it's okay, because it's kind of getting that bluish brown. The white has gone brown and the black has gone blue, which is kind of what happens to Victorian photos. So it kind of looks more like a photo than a postcard. Some more. This is Life's Journey. K & Co? K & Co. So I've got these. I thought they would be kind of cool on the front somewhere. I've got one missing, but I know where it is. I just can't remember where I've put it. So I've still got the fourth one. It's kind of a shame because that's the set I really like, but I might go with this set. Oh, there's only 3 of those as well. Oh, maybe we'll use this one then. I don't know. I've also got, I put these in. These are new, obviously. Can you talk about the printer, ink and paper you recommend? I just use whatever I've got. If you can afford to get a LaserJet printer that has waterproof ink, do it. Okay? If you can afford a LaserJet printer with photo quality, waterproof ink, get it. Because that's the best thing to get. I've just got an HP printer, and the only reason I've got the HP printer was because it was on 10% off, but inside you got 3 months free of 300 prints on HP Instant Ink. And I hate running out of ink. So I paid for the subscription, I pay $1.99 and they send me ink when my printer tells them that it's going to run out. And it just turns up on my doorstep. I've just had some black ink arrive today. I didn't even know I was low. So that's what I use. As far as paper, I like, for me, 120 grams because you can print on both sides easily. And it also takes fountain pen, which is what I write with. And it also takes watercolours reasonably well. You can coffee dye it. You can do all sorts of things. Yeah, the Victorians did do Books of the Dead. It's really weird. I've got a book on Victorian death photos, mourning and autopsies, and it is the goriest thing you've ever seen. It's horrendous, but I love it. It's so fascinating because they thought it was science, you know. It was science. If it looked like science, then it was science, you know. Yeah, Susan, it depends what you want. You know, I can't recommend paper based on what I use because I don't know what you need. If you want to print a lot of photos, you know, for photos, I use glossy paper. I use 80-gram glossy paper that has double-sided. It's matte on one side and it's glossy on the other. So I can print either. But what I tend to do is print the glossy photo, but then I use the back for journaling. Because it's matte photo paper on the back, you can use a fountain pen. So I can write on the back of my photos with fountain pen as if they're journaling cards. But that's only 80 GSM. The paper I generally use is 120. It's double-sided report paper. It's just basic document paper, but it's nice quality. It's not copier paper. But, you know, I can't really recommend paper because it depends what your needs are. But I'm sure if you put in the comments what kind of things you generally use your paper for, we've got quite a few very knowledgeable people on paper. We've got Sparkly Goth is a photo expert. Vicky, of course, knows foreign papers very well. Jane is a bit of an aficionado with art papers. So, you know, there's plenty of people there. If you list the kind of things that you like to do most, I'm sure somebody in the comments will be able to recommend or, you know, tell you what they use. And you can go from there. But yeah, I've just got a regular HP printer, office printer, scanner, all in one. Hi, Ina. And I use 120 gram nice document paper. I find I can print graphics on it. So I can print photos on it and like this so that they look like postcards. This is just ordinary A4 cheap paper that you get in the kids' art section, and actually this comes out looking like a vintage photo with the inks that I've got. But, you know, if you swap to a Canon printer, you're going to get something different. The only thing I would say is that inkjet ink is not waterproof. I think there's one Canon printer that does specialist waterproof inking, but inkjets by and large are not waterproof, which means if you're going to do coffee dyeing or anything like that, or watercolour or anything, you have to do that before you put anything printed on the paper. Just buy all sorts of paper and playing and see what you like. Yeah, that's what I did. That's exactly what I did, Vicky. Anyway, these are not new. These are not vintage, obviously, but they are brass. They are the Jane Davenport clips from her Filofax planner. And they're kind of Victorian-ish, right? And I've got other brass ephemera. I've got the Midori ephemera and stuff like that, so I can use some of those. I've got odd bits and pieces like this. This is years old. This came to me from Julie, Rock Mum. She's still a subscriber, so hey, Julie. Yeah, she sent me a pack of stuff, and she just sent me this with a little note stuck to the back, and I've hung on to it for years, but it's so pretty, and I might use it. I got little printed doily type things. I've got this beautiful, this is actually out of a notebook that I put into my pocket Filofax at one point, but it's got beautiful vintage roses on it, and it's a really nice creamy colour. I've got some basic grey papers that I turned into journal cards. I've got a whole stack of these kind of journal cards. I don't know how many of them. I mean, that's obviously a dressmaking one, so possibly won't use that. This is a nice piece of paper that I refuse to throw away, but it's also, it came with these. So until these are used up, they're not going anywhere anyway. But I've been hanging on to this bit of paper. I think it's from my, oh, it is from my vintage stamp. You can see there, that's the vintage stamp. But I popped these in here because I knew I wouldn't throw this out, because every time I look at it I go, oh, that's really pretty, I'll use that for something. So I've got my sparkles, got, I love these. I think this is from a medical dictionary. Illustrated medical dictionary, I don't know, it's funny. I've got some vintage style Alice in Wonderland ones. I think these are from Graphics Fairy. It was a whole sheet of like 8 of them, and they're all very slightly different, and I printed them out just to have a play with, really. I'm sure I will end up using 1 or 2 of these, because although Lewis Carroll was written by a man, Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland was written by a man, it is very Gothic literature, and it's Gothic children's literature, and I love it, and it's, Alice is very Victorian. I really like it, and I know that will end up in there at some point. I'm aiming for sort of the Brontes, Virginia Woolf, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Christina Rossetti, all those kind of people. Maybe a bit of Emmeline Pankhurst, Mary Shelley, obviously, that kind of stuff. This looks like Victorian wallpaper, which is awesome. I've got these older cards. I think these are supposed to be kind of post-war, kind of 1940s type cards. I don't know. They've got sellotape, so they're not Victorian. They haven't got sellotape on them. They've got sellotape as part of the design. But that is a vintage Victorian type spoon, even though it's from the same set. So, there are some things that I can use and some things that I can't. These typewriters are not strictly Victorian, but they are certainly vintage. I think they're like 1910, 1920s kind of typewriters. But again, who actually knows? It looks old. It will be in a Victorian book. Who cares? I've got some maps, got some sheet music. What's that? Into everlasting, into glory, glory. Out of darkness into glory. That's a Victorian thingy. That's from an old pack of cards. Old map type things. I've got a whole set of these, actually. I've got Via Oreto, Macada, Via, that's got to be Italian then, somewhere in Italy. This has got a vintage key on it. Again, there's sellotape, but you can cover that with a bit of... Am I going to use Sherlock Holmes? Well, Sherlock Holmes wasn't written by a woman, so probably not. It's not written by a woman, and it's not about a woman. I can happily squeeze Alice in there because Alice is a Victorian child. But Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle, not really. But I am thinking of doing something later in the year along the lines of the Penny Dreadfuls, not the Penny Dreadfuls show that I'm doing next month, but the actual Penny Dreadfuls, true crime in the Victorian era, Jack the Ripper type stuff. So Sherlock Holmes will fit into there, absolutely. Tins. They didn't have tins in Victorian times, did they? They might have had those kind of tins. What's the year on that? Does it say? Could probably put that in. Another spoon, another map. Can probably use maps. Oh, all sorts of stuff here, look. I'm not even going to go through all this. This is, bits of off-cut papers and stuff. I'm going to keep those separate because they may end up on the cover, but a lot of this is steampunk. Ooh! more of that vintage set in the larger sizes. These are perfect for putting in a Filofax because although they're short, they kind of work on the pages. And then I've got I've already got notepaper in here, so, but I really like this notepaper. It's just really cool. You know, it's steampunky, and I stuck these back to back so that I could have them double-sided. So I might put a couple of those in. Got loads of Jack the Ripper stuff. I'm not a Ripperologist, I just like Victorian, I'm just interested in Victorian crime in general, and he happens to fit the bill. But yeah, so I've got lots of different nice stuff. I like this paper, and I've only got 3 sheets of it, so I'm thinking wolves count as exotic animals, right? We've all seen Dracula, where the wolf escapes from the zoo, right? How did I get that in there? Well, Mina's a writer, isn't she? Oh. So, yeah. I'm going to have a play. I've got some ephemera. This is actually from a Christmas card, but it's exactly the kind of Victorian little cards. This is plastic, but I plan to be more dog. Exactly. Squeeze it in there. If at first you don't succeed, squeeze! I can always scan this and print it. I think that'd be kind of cool as a kind of Victorian Christmas type thing. I've got this kind of stuff. These are just sticky notes, but you know, they look Victoriana to me. I've got these classic black photo corners, which of course will be useful. I have these vintage type buttons. Not entirely convinced I'll be able to use those, but they're there. You never know. And of course I have my Filofax. So let's move this out of the way. I'm going to find a little project box to put all this stuff in, so I've got it all together until I get it all sorted into my... do I have a bag somewhere, actually? Oh! I'll pop it in here for now. This is my... It's just got a couple of leads for my phone in there, but that's... oh, I might leave it in there, actually. That's a handy little pouch. Right, so this is a Filofax Fusion. It's a cheap Filofax. It's nylon covered. Very durable, but the thing I love about it is how big this strap is, because you really can stuff it full, which makes it ideal for this. It doesn't have the big rings, it only has regular size rings, it's not 30mm rings. I pulled out, I've spent the morning, because I couldn't get on Twitch, I spent the morning pulling out bits and pieces that I can use, and I found all the black bits from my Holborn. So I thought, you know, this is a nice stiff, heavy piece of card. I don't like the roughness on that other side, sorry. Just turn it around that way so I don't have to touch it. Oh! This is glossy on this side. But that side's like, oh, it's like sandpaper. I thought I could actually kind of decorate this and then clip that to it as a page lifter at the back, because this is a nice sturdy bit of card. These, we all have these, all this beautiful manila cardstock. How many times have you purchased a Filofax and it comes with at least one set of these and at least one set of the A to Z dividers, because nobody ever uses them. Nobody uses them. Nobody. Especially Filofax, us Filofax planner enthusiasts who like to decorate. None of us use them. Nobody uses them. So every single planner I have ever bought, no matter how old it was, no matter what state it was in, no matter what condition it was in, even this one, when I bought it on eBay for like £5, because the rings were slightly out of line, but I fixed that. It's not that hard. Filofaxy YouTube has a video on how to fix it. Yeah, I bought this for a £5 and it said no inserts, it's just the cover, etc, etc. And when it arrived it had 4 sets of A to Zs in it. Because nobody uses them. Well, I'm going to use them because guess what? This cardstock is actually quite nice. So what I've done, it ain't rocket science, people. I took a big pair of scissors and I lined it up with the thing and I chopped that bit off. And I went, oh look, there's a bit of Filofax paper. Nice bit of cream Filofax, vintage looking oldie kind of paper, and you know, that'll do. You can use fountain pens on this manila cardstock. It does obviously still have the little plastic bits on. I did try to get them off. They don't come off, but I very rarely write to the edges of the paper like that anyway. So I'm thinking that that's not going to be an issue. It's barely ½ centimetre on the edge here. I mean, that's probably the most there is. I'm sure I can work around that. Even if it means covering them all up with washi tape, I'm sure I can work around it. In fact, you could. That is about the width of half a piece of washi tape, and it's on front and back. So you could, if you really wanted to, put washi tape on either side. But don't forget the distress inks and the alcohol inks and the oxides all go over this. So it doesn't really matter. And then all I've done is made sure that the Filofax paper thing is on the back. So it's only printed on one side of all of these. So I made sure that was at the back. And that's set. So that's all of the dividers and stuff, because I don't use those dividers. So now I've got, this is only half of what I've got. And I've never purchased any. Never once have I purchased any. So yeah, I've got all of these. Then I had this set, which is from 2000. These are the parchment ones. These came with the Holborn. Again, never used them. This is an A to Z set and a 6 thing. So I chopped those up and I used those, and it's beautiful parchment paper. It's lovely. Again, you can write on it with fountain pen much easier than you can use the Filofax paper. Why am I going to spend time coffee dyeing paper when I can just use that? Plus, before I start writing on this, what I'm going to do is to scan one of these pages and blow it up so I can reprint this paper if I want to at a later date, because I really do like this. It's really pretty. And then this is Midori paper. This is from the 003 insert. Back in the day, I started using this as note paper, but of course it's like onion skin paper, so it's super thin. Be great for this. And I've got all of that in there, and I've still got room on my rings, and I've still got plenty of room to fill it up with more stuff. Perfect, right? Are you making it faux? I think Miss Vicky B just got interrupted by a child. Are you making it for myself? Yes. It's for fun. Oh, for Bujo purposes? No, more of a commonplace book. I'm enjoying using my junk journal type monthly insert for all my bullet journaling, all that kind of stuff. I have a household planner, which is an A5 version of this, which I may also do the same thing too, because it's kind of cool. I've got all my house finances and important papers and things in it. This is more of a interesting stuff that I find when I'm reading or note taking or that kind of thing. So, you know what I mean. You've got like 4,000 books. But yeah, I found all my black accessories. I've even found my black ruler, so that's kind of cool. I've got a couple of these that I made before when I did my Filofax Portland. I use my Filofax Portland as a wallet on and off. And these were 2 of the pages that I had in the Filofax Portland. I thought, since they are, well, that's Edgar Allan Poe. So technically, I shouldn't squeeze that in, but it's the Raven. I might do it anyway. I might call it Women Writers and Gothic Literature. Just say it really fast, and then it doesn't matter. Victorian Gothic Literature. There we go. And this one, I love this one. This is a really beautiful background. I don't know where the scrapbook paper is from. I think it might be basic grey. But these rub-ons, obviously, are Tim Holtz. They're from the Halloween sessions thing. None of these actually go together, so I've put all of these together myself. We've got a corner and a spider. The spider doesn't hang off the corner. I put him there. This floral design is from the floral... He's got a flora and fauna one. And obviously the scroll work is from there. And the is it a bee? Is it a bumblebee? Looks like a bumblebee to me. Honeybee. I put him in there. They've got I've got a little Paris thing that kind of came off with this, so I just left it on there. And then I kind of like the crown just to fill up that space. But these are all rub-ons. I'm inspiring you. Oh, Miss Vicky B is going to be pulling out her Filofaxes this afternoon going, oh, I must make Victoriana things. I just kind of... It's 2 things, really. I mean, I've been on a Victorian kick for a while because, you know, I'm always on a Victorian kick, but I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I'm very into penny dreadfuls and true crime and stuff. Oh, I might do a Victorian true crime one. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Ooh. Anyway, I've got these pieces pre-cut, which I need to refine them because they're not quite made right. But I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 is the most I would ever need dividers. But this is nice sturdy cardstock, so I thought I'd use that. And, you know, I can stick this onto here, and boom, straight away I've got a divider, and I've just got to pretty it up. So that's going to be nice and easy. Yeah, well, whenever people say... And I know my class students have heard me say this so many times over the last few days, but whenever you hear of Victorian junk journal, when you say Victorian junk journal, you get an immediate picture of in your mind, and it involves lots of flowers, lots of Marie Antoinette, lots of vintage lace, lots of coffee dyeing, lots of pink, lots of cream. The words shabby chic thrown in a lot, and it drives me insane. I don't like it. That's not me. So I want to do Victoriana in a completely different way. I have seen one person out of all the people that I've kind of skimmed through, because I've looked at them and I'm like, no, too floral, no, too brown. You know, there's one girl, I can't for the life of me remember her name, but if you search for the Countess junk journal, it is beautiful. It's based on the Countess de Castiglione, which is basically the first woman photography artist. She's one of Rachel's favourites. And it's gorgeous. I'll try and find the link later and put it in the down bar because it's beautiful. But if you look for the Countess, that's what the book is called. But it's not a Filofax, it's a junk journal. But that's the kind of aesthetic that I really dig. And she's really gone to town with it. And of course, you know me, I'm not above throwing in a Ouija board or something in it as well, because it is Gothic literature. So, and you can see I've done stuff before. This is perfect for this because it's got the 2 pockets, okay? It's already got 2 pockets there. This is Junk Journal Classic. 2 pockets, 2 tags, in you go. I'm not a tag fan, but, you know, little bits of paper that you can make notes on, or a journal card that you can put information on, or whatever. Absolutely. It's got a nice big pocket there, so you could put a book or something in. This is fabric. All of this is fabric. It's all canvas nylon. It feels like, you know, the canvas polyester nylon tote bag straps. That's what it feels like. So it's super easy to sew onto it or stitch onto it or glue onto it or whatever. It's got this beautiful leather finishing, which is really well sewn on. It's got a lovely back pocket as well, which is really handy if you use it as a reading thing, because you can shove stuff in the back. You can shove notes and things in the back. And then it's got this back section where, of course, you can put a notepad in there. Or, like I had those other cards tucked in here. Like that. So you can put all sorts of other bits and pieces in. Oh, hey, Catherine. Yeah, it's just so cool. I think it's going to be really good. So, first thing, of course, that I have to do in order to be able to do the cover, which is what I want to play with today, because I like to build inserts and stuff as I go, of course, I need to do the cover first, and I need to take the inserts out to do that. So, I am prepared. I've got a baggie to put my paper in. Actually, I'm just going to put the thin papers in so they don't get crumpled. I think these manila ones will handle it quite well. Let's pop that in there to keep those flat. There we go. That'll do. And now I can play with this. So what am I going to do with this? Wow, what can't I do with it? I mean, one thing I already know is that on the Filofax logo there, I want to stick my Curiosities. I've got I think it's Tim Holtz again. It's a banner thing. It's got holes on either end, metal banner, and it says Curiosities in kind of old vintage typewriter font. So that is going to go there. I know that. That's going to cover the Filofax logo. And because of the way it looks, I think probably I might put a little bit of mesh underneath it and put it across so it'll kind of look like that. Let me use a slightly thinner pair. So it'll kind of look like that across the middle. Or I've got some black cheesecloth, I might try some of that. Yeah, but just some little bit of fabric underneath it, and then the thing there. So I know that's going to happen there already. But I've got the rest of the journal to play with, haven't I? And I love the way this has a double layer. If that's not just crying out for something in this pocket to have lace on, then I don't know what is. So let's see what we can do, shall we? So I was basically just thinking, like, start building up stuff and collage it on. The big thing really is whether I make a piece and then sew it on, or whether I sew the piece together and then stick it on, or what. Because I was thinking, yeah, I can do things like this, and it will completely cover up all that, but it will still go with this beautiful brown stitching. Because this is black leather and brown stitching. It's actually kind of almost bronze. It's kind of this colour. So I thought if I use blacks and bronzes on the covers, I can leave this open, and then maybe I could put something there, or I could just put something in the pockets to kind of stick out, you know, that kind of thing, so that it's kind of black lace ruffles. So rather than having ruffles on the actual Filofax, which I think might be a bit too much. Hang on a minute, this is Victoriana we're talking about. But, you know, I could go to town with the lace ruffles, but they're removable. So, do I want to... I think maybe the easiest thing to do, actually, would be to measure this, make a piece, be able to do all the sewing and stitching and whatever else I want to do on the front, and then glue it on afterwards. Because gluing is going to be... And I'm going to need to use my E6000 for this. Because it's external, it needs to stand up to a lot of wear and tear. But, you know, you can buy these in the shops for like £10 at most, brand new. So I'm not at all worried about, you know, it's been sitting in the back of a cupboard for about 3 years. So the worst that can happen is it ends up back in the back of the cupboard, right? Yeah. Let's do that. Let's cover this and leave this exposed, but put something over the top of it. Maybe layered, so, you know, I kind of see that kind of thing as being something that could work. Like layered with lace over the top. Maybe slightly lighter so it stands out a bit. And then make kind of panels for this section. I might make a panel for this section that's like really heavy collage type stuff. Let's just pile some bits on there like that. You get the idea. Kind of like that. And then I saw, I think it was the girl who did the Countess book actually, she had, on the back of hers, she had vintage music underneath a piece of black lace. Well, black lace is very Victorian, obviously. But I'm thinking, what if I put a panel of black lace there, but with maybe a first section line of a Gothic novel? Because I adore Wuthering Heights. If I had to name a fiction book that I would be happy to take to a desert island and read again and again and again for the rest of my life, it would be Wuthering Heights. Even though I'm not particularly into fiction, I would take that book with me and I would read it. It's one of the few books I've actually sat and read cover to cover, like physically read. I'm usually an audio girl, but I've actually read Wuthering Heights. And I've got several copies of it, including one that's already fallen apart and I've taken pages out of. So I could perhaps take either a really famous passage or the very beginning of the novel. I think it would have to be Cathy coming to the window and shouting for Heathcliff, wouldn't it? Or the very first section of the novel. And put it in there under a bit of lace. I think that'd be cool. That's not my original idea, okay? Like I say, that's somebody else has already done that with... It wasn't lace, it was like sari fabric with sequins. Well, I love Jane Eyre, but we haven't got to the back yet. It's like sari fabric with sequin scrolls on it and music underneath, but same thing. And then we've got the back. Jane Eyre is my second favourite, and one of the reasons I love it is because of the last section. Reader, I married him. You know, I've been through all this. I've shown you what an amazingly strong woman I am. I've suffered the most horrendous indignities and all sorts of things that should never happen to a nice young lady of my position, even if I am only a governess. It just simply shouldn't happen. But in order to conform to Victorian society and not be too racy, I'm going to marry him anyway, because it's okay now, his wife's dead. It just really makes me laugh. I always laughed at that bit. Reader, I married him. Well, of course you did, because you're Victorian. So I might put that page in here and do a similar thing, but maybe with something different than black lace. Maybe do something with the page. I don't know, because it's going to be on the back. So maybe put it under a piece of acetate or something. with lace on the acetate, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe even do an acetate pocket so that I can change out what I put in there. That would work too. So I think what I need to do is measure this reasonably accurately. If I can find my ruler, which obviously I'm not going to be able to, because of course I can't. Here we go. Filofax is usually fairly well made, so that it should be exactly 4 inches by 3 and 2 things. 10. 4 inches by 8 centimetres exactly. Okay. So I knew these would come in handy for something, see? Wuthering Heights, yeah. I like all the Brontes. I even like the Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I think it was an awesome book. Jo in Little Women. Jo is an awesome character. I love Jo. I liked Beth too, but she kept doing things like dying on me, and I wasn't really into that. Yeah, Jo is one of my favourites. I think female protagonists, actually, Jane Eyre is probably my favourite character. I really like Jane. I do like Jo. Hated Cathy. I thought she was a brat. But I love Wuthering Heights more than I like Jane Eyre. It's really weird, isn't it? Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is do myself a little diagram here. Okay, so we've got, that comes down there, and then there's the strap, and that comes down there on that side, and that comes across there. So this bit I've already got plans for, and this bit I don't really want to do anything to. So this part is 4 inches by 8 centimetres. I know I'm using odd measurements, but you know, 3 and 2/8 is, you know, it's easier to remember 4 inches by 8 centimetres than 3 and 2/8. Let's just make sure this one is the same size. So, yep, exactly 4 inches, and exactly 8 centimetres. Make sure it's the same on both sides. Yep. It's like a millimetre out on that edge, but that won't matter. So if I make 2 cards that size as bases, I can sew stuff onto them or glue stuff onto them, stitch on it, whatever I want to do, and then I can literally just glue them onto here. And maybe even stitch around the edge just to hold it in place. Okay, so the spine, I think I probably won't do anything with the spine. I like the spine as it is. I might put like a velvet strip across the back or something. I've got some velvet ribbon that would look nice. A couple of lines of velvet against that nylon might look quite good. That would look quite good, actually. I might cover up the Filofax logo. Sorry, do I keep going off camera that way? Let me... Yeah, go get the little one. See you later, Becky. Thanks for dropping by. Haven't seen you in ages. Mum's a huge Jane Eyre fan. I wanted to take her to Haworth last year for her 90th. Oh, do it this summer and stop at mine on the way. Because like, it's only an hour north of me, and I want to go up there as well. Hell of a lot of hills, though. Hell of a lot of hills. That would look rather cute, actually. I like that on there. Could even make it a little bit longer. Oh, I don't know now. Anyway. I can't really measure that because it goes funny. I suppose I could measure it if I could find my tape measure, but... Oh, I know! I used my mum's trick. Oh, let's use a piece of paper. Be easier. So, that is exactly not 2 inches. Oh, okay. Exactly 1 3/4 inches. So this should be 4 inches wide, I think. Yep. Good designers them Filofax kids. And this is 7 1/2 exactly. So this is going to be just shy of 7 1/2. Inside it's going to be, I think by the time you account for thickness, I'm going to have to go for 7. So the pocket itself 7 inches, which means these 8 centimetre ones are going to be 7 1/2 centimetres. 10. Oh, I think I could make it 7 centimetres actually, that would be better. 7 centimetres. 8 centimetres. 4 inches. Okay, so now I know what sizes I need to make things. That makes things considerably easier. So I like the idea of putting the black lace on here with the paperwork underneath it. I don't really want to go off and try and find my copy of Wuthering Heights that has been taken apart, or my black lace though. So I've got a black lace shirt that I grew out of at the age of 14 and I'm still cutting it up to make things. So that'll go on there. So it'll kind of look a little bit like that. Kind of. Gives you an idea. Makes it easier to visualise. So I'm thinking if I use kind of these browny rusty bits, I love this paper. I definitely want to use this paper. I think that's absolute. This is almost exactly the right size. So what if I use that? Or would I be better using fabric so that then if I want to stitch it down these seams, because these are raised, you see, that would be, just get a curved needle, you could easily stitch that and stitch the fabric onto it. Would fabric be better as a base? And then you can have bits overhanging as well, make it look a bit more rustic. Rustic, I don't really want it rustic, but you know what I mean, like less pristine. Less like it's been made by a machine. Okay, let's find some nice dark fabrics. Shouldn't be too hard. So I'm going to have black up there. And I want to use this. I might even use a bit of this, because this is actually, that would be nice in there actually. I might use that as one of the tip-ins. This is going to go there. So I know I don't want blue. I like this green, but I kind of want to use it next month in my Penny Dreadful one. Sorry, am I off camera again? Why does my camera keep moving? The hell? Stay put. I like it, but it's not quite dark enough. I've got this, but that's not very, it's a bit too modern. Nope. Where's that lovely piece of dark blue I've been hanging on to for weeks? Where is it? Where is that? Oh, that's nice. Where is that lovely piece of dark blue I've been hanging on to for weeks? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, that'll be a good piece to use as well. On the inside, it's sciencey. I don't actually know what they are, but it's sciencey stuff. Look, it's very Victorian science type stuff, right? Well, that's a nice piece. I can use that, definitely. I think I'm going to go with darks. I think I'm going to go with darks and browns and neutrals. I want to use my greens next month. I think I can get away with using more of these kind of dark greys and browns and things. Greens. Ooh, yeah. Reds. Too modern. It's a bit wallpapery, but it's okay. Could use it on the inside. That's quite, yeah, kind of like that. It's the grey matches. Tartan check, no. I've got some more of that in the dark brown rather than the black. Ooh, can't go wrong with a bit of black stripe, right? I've got some red stripe as well in that, but it's a bit too, yeah, it's a bit too bright. Black dots is too modern. Ha! 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 Victoriana. I think I had it here somewhere. Got another bit there. Ooh, that might fit the spine. That would be rather cool if it did. That would be awesome. Ooh, there's a nice bit of creamy brown as well. I don't want to go too creamy brown, but I want to keep it neutral so I can add pops of colour here and there. Okay, let's start with this. So that'll be, I think, insides. Inside, outside. Inside, inside. Possibly outside. Maybe a bit outside. Inside, inside. Maybe a bit outside. Definitely outside. Actually, that goes nicely with that. Do I want brown on the cover though? I'm not really a brown kind of girl. I like the bronze. I'm not really a brown. No, I think brown on the inside would be better. This is super dark brown. It looks black, but it's actually super dark brown. But it kind of goes with that. This is kind of almost like feathers. I like that. But there's also this one, which is freaking awesome, and I've been looking for somewhere to use this bit of fabric for ages because it's just so cool. Look how tattered it goes on the edges. It's just so good. And I wouldn't have to cut that down. I can just fray it down to the size that I need. I think that would look really good with a bit of black lace up there and some, you know, a couple of bits of vintagey doodads on the front. Maybe a bit of lace, maybe a bit of this, bit of that, bit of woo, bit of way, you know. That'd be rather cool. And then, and I could always add, like if I do that, I could always add perhaps a little bit of this onto the lace or something, just to bring the colours up there. Or even use a little bit of this behind the paper. So I think that could work. Let's put those to one side for the insides. I do like that. Look at that piece, isn't it beautiful? almost like a painting. That may end up being on my dashboard, you know. Wouldn't that look cool if you opened it? Ooh, and I've got this bit as well that I need to decorate. Wouldn't that be cool? Look at that there. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yes. That would be lovely. I could even stitch something like that onto it so that it becomes a little spellbaggy type thing. Haha. I like it. Okay, that'll work. Let's do that. And then on the back, I was thinking, what about this? What about using this bit on the back? Because that on the spine would look words. I think that would look rather cool once it was frayed on both edges. That'd be awesome. I might have to, oh, it's not open on this edge. I could stick it right down there and sew something over the top of it. So this edge would be flat and secured. And then this edge I can like tack it down or sew it down or whatever, but it'd be decorative. Aha, I like it. Okay, so that's that bit, and I've even got a little bit there that I can chop off and put down here, look. Marvellous. I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so, ooh, hang on a minute. Is that big enough to go on there? Oh, not quite. I could probably use that bit on the inside though, and then this bit on the outside. I wonder if, okay, I wonder if the bit that I will cut off here, so that'll go to the edge there, and go to there. I wonder if that bit, get a bit of paper. I wonder if that bit there will be enough. Look at that, I could sew the bit onto there. I could use that as a backing. Yes. Absolutely, that will work. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so, sorry, there's a lot of setting up and oohing and ahhing and, ooh, what can I do with this? Ooh, what can I do with that? But, you know, that's how projects start. And hopefully it gives you some kind of idea of what you could do. You know, hopefully you're sitting there going, I've got a bit of fabric like that and a boring old Filofax. Maybe I could just stick a little bit of fabric on that pocket and that'll look really cool. You know, you don't have to go all totally junk journal-y, but if you want to do a little bit of personalisation, especially to like the Maldens and some stuff. I mean, I know they're very expensive Filofaxes, but you know, maybe you want to just jazz it up a bit and make it feel a bit more like yours. Okay, what I'm going to do with this, because this is so heavily creased, is I'm just going to cut it along that crease. I'm not going to even bother trying to measure it to fit something. You know, it won't fit either way, so I might as well just I love frayed edges on fabric, so I'm quite happy pulling all these bits off. The trick is to make sure that where you have this seam, you see here you have the edge of the fabric and then you have the frayed bit. Make sure that your glue is on this bit here, because it'll stop any more bits coming off up to a point. So you might get 1 or 2 threads come off, but then eventually you'll hit glue and it'll stop fraying. Unless you want it to continue fraying, you know, I've done that before where it could continue fraying conceivably if it wanted to. That looks cool too. But generally, I like to fray it to where I want it and then get it to stay there. Okay, so where's the dark piece? That's the dark piece. I really like that. I think that will look awesome on that pocket there. Maybe not even, maybe I can put something, yeah, I think I'll put something underneath it so I can move it up just a little bit to about there. Okay, let's take that bit there. So that bit will go on there, and then this bit and this bit together should kind of fit this pocket. Doesn't have to be exact. Let's put that up there so it looks a bit more like it's supposed to be there. Yeah, by the time I've sewn those together, that will be about the right size. Perfect. So I think I'm almost certainly going to I'm going to have to go and get my lace. Hang on a minute. 1 second. I'm going to have to go and get my lace. I know where it is. I just couldn't be bothered to go and pick it up earlier. Bit off. Hang on a sec. That should be enough. Just pulling off enough because it's a huge piece. So I'm just pulling off more than enough than I know I want. Whew. Okay, so this is really cool lace. It's very dense, but it's quite cool. Oh, is it a bit too dense to see through? Oh no! That won't look like, I won't be able to see fab. Okay, here's what we'll do. The back doesn't have to be that ornate. So if I put that there, stick some lace around the outside, or over the top. You know what? I don't want to waste that bit of fabric on something that I'm not going to see. What if I used some white here? Would that be better? Because by the time you put black over the top, it doesn't even look white, does it? Yeah, let's do that. I'd rather have this somewhere I can see it. So this is just an off-cut. I've got one of this is one of the Deco Art aprons that they sent me to play with, and I chopped the apron bit off the top, as you can probably tell. And I'm using the skirt part, the panel part, to do my Wheel of the Year embroidery on that we're doing in class. One of many mixed media projects we're doing in class. If you're interested in joining us, links are below. And yes, for those asking, it is basically the same as my Patreon. It's just that Patreon is really unreliable. For instance, this month we didn't get paid until the 5th. There were a lot of delays. And they don't seem to be making it any better. In fact, everything they do makes it worse. It's been getting progressively worse for over a year, which is why I left them. So I'm on Ning now. You can still pay monthly, you can still pay in advance, you can still do whatever you want. Cancel anytime, all of that is a subscription-based thing, so it's exactly the same. And yes, if you prefer to pay on Patreon because you are a patron of other people, absolutely you can pay on Patreon. You still have to be on my site to get the stuff, but you can pay on Patreon. So yeah, I had that question the other day, I thought I'd just address it again. Okay, so I don't really need it to be all the way to the edge because there's going to be lace over the top that I need to stick. So about there, I reckon. Well, it kind of is going to be look like an old book, yeah. It's kind of the idea, is to make it look like a junk journal, old book type thing. So that's going to be about there. And there. If I stick that about there, so that will fit. Let's pull that down to about there. And now I've got a bit more of this white linen that I can use somewhere else. Now I don't see any reason why I can't put some colour on this linen. I wonder if that would make a difference. There. Do I fancy putting colour on it or not? See, the black lace is so dense, I'm thinking actually it would be better without any colour underneath it, because this almost makes it look grey. Does it really need any colour underneath it? Let me try something that's got a small amount of colour, just to see the difference. Do I like it with the colour or without? I actually do kind of like the colour. So if we made it a very soft colour. I like that grey, you see. That's why I liked the grey piece. But I don't want to waste this on being covered up by lace, so what about the back of this? What's this like on the reverse? Ooh, that's interesting on the back, actually. What about something like that, just to add a bit of interest to the back? It's kind of interesting. You have to audition your fabrics, you see, that's the thing. You've got to audition your fabrics. And depending on where I put those roses, depends whether it looks mostly lace or mostly colour. I kind of like that with a little bit of colour underneath, but not too much. But I like the white as well. Yeah, let's do that. So there's a nice selvage on the edge of that. So what's at the other end? There's a selvage on there as well. Okay. Alrighty then. Shall I do it? Shall I do it like a frame? Or shall I do it as straight? I quite like the idea of doing it as a frame. Maybe I can leave the pocket open on one side so it looks like you can put something in it. Let's do that. I do it like that, so then it'll have a white frame around the outside, so the panel will show up better. That's the idea. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Susan's like, yes, colour, yes, frame. Oh. I'm just going to use Aleen's on this because this is just going to be held in place anyway. It doesn't really need, it's just tacking it in place. It doesn't need anything else. So far we're on the same page. Okay. As long as you're with me, Sue, we're good. Okay, so that's just tacked in place. It doesn't need to be any more than that because it's going to be held in place on here anyway. So if I put this on here, that's going to go on there like that. And then I think this lace I'm going to have to stitch on. Because it's on the back. If it was on the front, I would just stick it and I wouldn't be bothered. But I think because it's on the front, because it's on the back, it might need to be stitched. I should have brought my sewing machine over, shouldn't I? Not that I'm any good at sewing, but let's find a nice edge piece that I can cut square. Here we go, let's use this edge. Love that sound. Okay. So how big does it need to be? 7.5 by 4. Inches. So there's a 4. Okay, so there's an 8. There's a 4 just there. And 7.5 is there. Come back here. Oh, I've got a hangnail and it keeps getting caught on it. Is there anything more annoying than a hand nail? No. I don't think it's even a hangnail, it's just a hard corner of skin. There. Okay, where's that slip gone? There it is. So, that's even. It's going to be about there. So, about there. See. Ugh, this is why I cut the bit off, because it's really quite unwieldy, this stuff. It looks like it's going to cooperate, but it does not want to cooperate. Okay, so there's the 2 cuts. I'm going to go up there. Like that. Perfecto. Somebody tell Rachel to refresh her screen. She should know it's always just her. Hey Leah, hey Jess. So that's going to go on there now. It's not quite straight, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to... There's a definite front and back to this lace, so... Thanks, Sue. Okay, so let's... In fact, I think it'd be easier to do it this way, won't it? Let's do that up so it sits flat on the table. Okay, let's do this bit here. Oh, no, other way round. There we go. There we go, that's right. This bit does not want to sit flat. Oh, her whole thing's crashed. I'll have to... Where's my phone? I'm texting her. If I was just sticking this on as a back panel, I would not use this glue because it does not stick properly. Well, it does stick. It sticks everything to everything, but it's not durable enough for a lot of handling. And especially because nylon fibre, which is what this is, nylon canvas, is plastic. So it will not stick to plastic. But, like I said, I'm not sticking it, I'm tacking it in place for long enough to get my lace on, and then it will be held in place by the lace anyway. Let's just make sure we've got everything the right way up. It's so easy to get these things the wrong way around. Where's that curved bit that keeps folding under? That goes at the bottom. Okay. Looks about straight to me. It's not quite straight at the top, but funnily enough, I prefer it to look straight at the bottom and the sides and just let the top do what it wants, because you can always add a bit of decoration to the top, right? So that will, if that was on its own, even if that was all over the back, it would not hold that on there for any length of time. But underneath something else that's going to be well and truly in place, this will be fine. So there's a definite front and back to this lace. So there's one side and there's the other. you can, well, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this side has got slight sheen to it, where the netting at the back goes across the flowers. So it's like there's a layer of netting and then the flowers are on the other side. Whereas this side, you've got the netting underneath and the flowers are raised. I think you can just about see the difference there versus there. See how this side is shiny and this side has got shiny bits and darker bits. So that's definitely the front of the lace. Okay, so this is only rough cut. It's not anywhere near exactly the right size that I want. I'm just going to get it lined up with whatever appears to be the straightest edge, and I think that actually is probably the straightest edge there. A little too much on that corner. It's a little bit odd there. It kicks out a bit. Let's straighten up this bow edge. Again, I'm not being precise, I'm just eyeballing it because this is all going to fray in the end anyway. And I'm going to stitch it onto the edge. Yes, Rachel's back. I don't know why you don't just refresh in the first place. You know it's always you. If it was me had dropped offline, I would have rung you and said, tell everybody it's dropped offline. Oh, what you like. You're such hard work. I love you, really. Oh, hi, Dor. Sorry, I didn't say hello to Dor today. That's Mum. Okay. It's not quite fitting on that corner, which is kind of irritating me, but I can probably, because this is stretch lace, I can probably, when I stitch it in place, I can probably just pull it a little bit on that corner and it'll be fine. So that's that side. I think because this is an edge here, I should be able to cut it flat with that edge or flush with the edge. That's the word I was looking for earlier, flush. Again, slight amounts of wibbly wobbly don't matter because it's going to be... That's actually not a gap. It looks like a gap because you can see the stitching, but actually it's a bit of lace. Everything else has got flower on it, but that's just got a bit of lace. So it looks like there's a big gap and I cut it. I actually thought I'd cut it in, but I haven't. Okay. And then hold that bit there. And I'm just gonna trim it off completely flush with the outside of the journal. Just to get it straight. I think it's always a good idea to have one edge on lace that isn't quite flush, because by the time you've sewn this bit and this bit and this bit, you might find that this bit is pulled a little bit and it's kind of like that and you need to pull it up a bit or whatever, or it's too long and now you have to cut it again. So I always leave one edge that's not quite, just got a little bit of overhang. If any of you have done sewing pockets before yourself, you'll know when you sew down and across and up, it kind of pulls the material on the bias. I'll probably be best off actually stitching this along the bottom and then up one side and up the other side so that it pulls it that way, which will hold that bit in the bottom a little bit firmer, and it'll also stretch out the lace a bit so you'll be able to see what's underneath. But I rather like that. It actually looks better in person. It's less black in person, but remember we're going to have stuff here, so there's going to be things sticking out. So it's not going to be completely black. Most of it will be black, but it's not going to be completely black. So it won't look quite as dark as it does now. Not that there's anything wrong with it looking as dark as it does now, but okay, so I don't think I want to stick that right now. What I find with lace, rather than using wet glue, which obviously if you put wet glue on lace, two things are going to happen. One, the wet glue is going to come up through the lace. Oh look, dog hairs. The wet glue is going to come up through the lace, so it's not really going to stick everywhere. But also, you're going to have hard bits on your lace where you'll be able to feel the difference even if you can't see it. So with this, what I'll do is Pritt stick it into place, because dry glue won't affect the lace other than to stick it in place. So I'll put Pritt stick on this bit, tack that into place with the Pritt stick, maybe put a pin in it or something at the opposite end, and then once I've sewn this bit, I won't have to worry about it being out of place anyway. And what I'll probably do is do kind of a wrap stitch that way. Pritt stick. Dry glue, Pritt stick, yoo-hoo. Whatever you call it where you are. We have Pritt stick. I use this for everything, except for the stuff I use this for. These are my two glues. Aleene's Tacky and Pritt stick. I use Pritt stick because these are fully recyclable. The plastic can be put in the recycling bin, or you can wash them out. They've even got a thing on the Pritt stick site where it shows you how to wash them out at 20 degrees C in your dishwasher and turn them into lollipops. So you have a thing that you can turn your lollipops up on. And this stuff is just, it just does everything. And what that can't handle, E600 can. But mostly, I find the only thing this can't do is handle plastics. I've stuck metal to metal with this stuff. As long as it's not weight bearing, it's fine. But it doesn't like plastic, so this is nylon. That's plastic. That's not going to stay in place for very long. Okay, so that's the back piece. Let's take that out and pop it in the pocket so I know where it is for later when I want to go and sew it on. I'll do that later. I'm not going to sit and sew on camera. You never see what I'm doing, especially black on black. So that's a project for later. I've got an idea for this, but I'm going to leave it for another time. I'm not going to do it today because I don't know if I can do it. I want to try it out on something else first. But I think I have an idea for what I can do here. Where's that bit of grey that's going to go on there? So that's going to go on there. Do I want to do a collage type thing on here as well? And maybe a pocket thing? And if so, do I want to sew it across that way and maybe edge it with lace? Or do I want to sew it across that way and edge it with lace? Decisions. I know I don't want lace up there because it'll get in the way of whatever's going up there. So that's one down. I'm pretty sure if I put lace there, it will get in the way of whatever I put in there, because that pocket is really difficult to get in and out of as it is. I have to bend it back to get my hands in there. So I'm thinking maybe something with a tab on it that you can pull out of there that will bend, maybe a bit of card or something with a tab on it that you can put in there and bend. Maybe an identity. I could put my ID thing in there, couldn't I? And pull that out. That would work, because then it'll bend. So if that's going to have something, a pulley on it, then I don't want anything this side. So that's two out. So that means those frayed bits can go on this edge. Oh, actually, that frayed bit can go up. That's leather stitched at the edge there. If I'm very careful, I can put that so that the frayed bit goes over the edge of that leather. That will look really cool. And then you'll be able to see the stitching. like that. Or I could do it totally flush and push it up under that leather. Okay, let me try and zoom you in a bit. Hang on. So you can see what I see. Woo! Look at that! Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Okay. Yeah, I'm liking the marbling on this pocket too. I'm thinking putting the edges, the edgy bits around the outside, because obviously that will be in the way. But if I put that on the flat piece there, can you see how there's kind of a lip there? I might be able to push that up under that lip and glue it in place so it looks like it's always been on there. It'll be a fiddly job. Like that. But I think that might look rather cool actually. Rather than having it overhanging the leather. Make it look like it's always supposed to have been there. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So that's going to need to be up to the stitching then on both sides. Whoops. I haven't done this bit yet because I don't know what I want to do on that corner yet. I'm just trying to see if this will work. Getting ideas for your old paper chase planner. Excellent. Why not? I mean, it's something to play with, isn't it, if nothing else? You'll decide whether you like it or not. And if you've got an old planner sitting on a shelf somewhere, like this has been sitting in the back of a cupboard for 3 years, the worst that can happen is it ends up back in the cupboard, right? That's the way I look at it. So, or it becomes an art piece and it goes on a shelf somewhere. That would be kind of cool too. Oh, there we go. Let's do it that way. Lift the leather. Material pops right in underneath. Look at that. Plans coming together. In fact, it might be easier with my thumb. Nope. It's easier with this. Sorry if my head's in the way. I need to see more than you do. But all I'm doing is lifting up this corner so that the fabric sits flush underneath the leather. So it'll fit underneath that bit of trim, and then that bit will sit in that corner there. Put some decent glue on this corner to make sure it stays in place. Where's my tiny scissors? Teeny tinies, where are you? I know you're here. I put you here the other day. I put you here just the other day. Here you go. So I'm just going to snip off those edge pieces there. So I can push it up into that corner a bit better. There we go. What I'll do when I'm off camera is get a cocktail stick and run a tiny bead of glue underneath that free edge just to stick that leather back down, so it kind of sandwiches the fabric between the leather and the vinyl. Because this will stick leather, no problem. It'll stick leather to fabric, or the back of leather to fabric anyway, which in turn will hold that bit in place. So let's just clip the corner off. I don't want to go too crazy with the corner because I don't want to have not enough fabric. Oh, who knew I had the patience for this, eh? So much difference between when you're doing it for fun and when you do it for work. I mean, yeah, technically I'm working. I make money off YouTube. It's part of my job. That's what I do. But this particular project is just a play project, because that's what I want to do. I want to play with Victoriana and I wanted to alter a Filofax. So here we are. And hopefully you can learn from my mistakes as we get there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to pull some more of those edges off. There we go. Okay, so a little run of, that looks nice and neat, look. I'll take a little bit of Aleene's and run a little blob on a cocktail stick underneath this lip here. You see where it's lifting up? So that that lip sticks down, and that will by default hold it down onto here. The outer edge I can stitch and that will hold that side in place. You know, the inside for Filofax doesn't get a lot of roughing about anyway, and you know, it's going to be a commonplace book. It's not going to be something I'm going to be toting around in my handbag all the time or anything. So it's probably going to live on my Victorian desk over there. Ooh, right then, I love that. You know what I'm thinking? What do I want to put on this edge? I've got plenty of black lace, but do I want something different? Just to, because it's very, very dark. And much as I do love black lace, you know, I'm going to have black lace all over the front. Do I want something a little bit different on the inside? Oh, I'm still zoomed in, sorry. I'll leave it zoomed in a little bit, but not so much. There we go. I've got a clear plastic Filofax planner, It's literally just one of these, but it's clear plastic. That would be awesome to do something on the inside of, because you could do like a 3D collage and build it up backwards. That would be very cool. I kind of like that. It's not white lace, it's off-white. I'm thinking if I layer it up with something like that, I might have to alter this bag. This bag might have to be one that folds over, because obviously if you do that with it, you're only going to be able to put it. Oh no, hang on, duh. If I stitch it on the bottom and the sides up to there, and then I tack it here, could still do that. Or, oh, I know, belay that. I've got a pin. I could put it there, and then I could use a pin, safety pin type thing, like a little decorative safety pin. I could put there to hold it on, or even do it like that. No, I like the safety pin idea. I like the decorative safety pin idea. I think I'm going to have to do something with the top of this so that it's not a drawstring. I could just make it a fold over and put a ribbon on it. Be kind of cool to put some pressed flowers or something in that. Or, contrary-wise, I could put a clear perspex pocket on there. That would also be very cool. I definitely like that lace on there. I think that lace really sets off that fabric, actually. Don't know why, it looks right. It looks right, and I like things that look right. I think I'll just undo this one completely. It's only a tiny bit. It doesn't have a back and front, this one, so I feel like I just need a little bit of something there. Just a little something. Do I want red in there? Oh no. I've gone off red at the moment. I don't know why I've gone off red, but I've gone off red a bit. I think it's because I'm surrounded by it. My entire living room is red. But I've gone more towards green. I've never really liked green, but I'm really enjoying greens at the moment, especially dark greens. So, ooh, try these. Ooh, got a lucky coin in my little baggie. That's kind of cool. I know. I'm completely in love with this green ribbon at the moment. What if I put a bit of that on there and put the lace over it? There we go. That I like. It almost looks like a bit of a dress. And that grey and that green really go nicely together. Perfecto. Okay. Yeah. Every time you chop a bit of fabric, it takes another bit. Stop it. I'm putting it on the back of the velvet because I don't want to damage the front of the velvet. This is clear. It's not clear at the moment. It's white glue at the moment, but it does dry clear, completely clear. And it's not, it does pick up the shine a tiny bit, but not horrendously. So. There we go, that'll stop that fraying. Okay, so if that goes to there, and we tuck it under, we want about, I want to be generous on this end in case it starts fraying on me. Okay, this is going to be the inside edge. So on this edge I can put, whoops, I can put Aleen's because it's going to be sticking to fabric. Actually, I can stitch it on this edge, can't I? Because it's a free edge. So instead of sticking it down, I'll put some of that on it. Let's do it right up to the edge here. Right up. I'm using the weave of the nylon fabric to make sure it's completely flush with the edge. Shift it up a bit. There we go. Now I can stitch that onto there, and it'll have a nice bond. Oops. No, that bit keeps moving, that's why. Because I didn't stick this corner, did I? But I don't need to because I'm going to stick it. I'm going to stitch it, so. Okay. You probably can't see what I'm doing, but I'm mitering the corners where it's got a bound edge on the fabric so that I can push it up under here and they won't be too thick. So this is still wet. And a little, there's stitching there. I need it to go under there. There we go. Okay. shove some glue up under there now while I've got it in place, because I don't want it to slip before I get a chance to stitch it. When I say stitching, I do mean hand sewing. I love hand sewing, so I will hand stitch all around the edges, but it's just in out, in out, in out. It's really not that interesting. You don't want to sit and watch me do that. I might do it decoratively, you know, I might use some green embroidery thread and do a fancy stitch down the edge, but that will be after. I will sew it with black cotton thread, sewing thread first to make sure it's in place, and then I might do a decorative border over the top, you know, just to make it look pretty. Hide a bit more of the nylon. It's not working very well on that bit. Let's try another tactic. Let's try running the glue along the leather. Ah, that works better. So the bobbly thing worked for pushing the fabric in the first time, but once you put it back in, it kind of acts like a hook. So instead, I'm using the glue on a bit of card, and I'm basically just putting the glue on the leather bit, and the other side of the card stops the fabric kicking up, so you can get the glue in there. And then we just press it down. Again, you'll be able to see white bits, but the glue dries clear. So once it's totally dry, that's going to look as if it's always been in there. See? Oh, we're cooking with gas now. Very Victorian. Do this way, because it seemed to like going that way. It's not hard to get the glue out of this bottle, it's just I don't have very strong hands. So squeezing is an issue. It's actually quite an easy bottle to squeeze. So I'm not at all worried about getting the glue on the fabric because it'll dry clear, so even if it does make a few marks, it won't be horrendous, but I'll wipe it off in a minute anyway, so at least if it is on there, it's even. Nobody ever said MacGyvering was a fast job. Well, MacGyver made it look fast, but you know, he could also make a Gatling gun out of a ballpoint pen, so I don't think we can necessarily trust his judgment on how long things are going to take to make. Voila! Okay, so I need to stitch that bit at the bottom as well. I'm almost thinking I might leave that bit there. Bit of glue on my velvet. Ah, it'll come off. I'm almost thinking I might leave that there and put a bit of lace on the back of it, so it's kind of got a tab. or maybe wrap that up round. Ooh, that would be a nice finish actually on the corner. If I wrapped it up, can I mitre the velvet? Ooh, I could. I could mitre the velvet on this side so that it sat flush. And then it just come up over that bit there. That would look nice. Could even do a similar thing on this corner. Maybe not all the way round, but just from the corner down a little bit. Maybe. Perhaps a little bit in the middle there. That would look rather cool. And we've got plenty of strap to do it with. Yeah, let's go for it. It's already got glue on it anyway, we might as well use it for something. And it's not going to get too much in the way of anything that's in that pocket because I've deliberately made it so that it's going to come sort of that width rather than being the full width of the pocket. These pockets are too tight. By the time you push something in the thickness of the pocket, it kind of pulls the pocket in a little bit. So I'll sew that down there on a mitered corner like that, so I'll still have my rounded edge. Very nice, I like that. It's got a little bit puckered, but I can sew that so that it stays flat. And then the lace go over the top like that. What am I going to do with the lace at the bottom? Because the lace at the bottom is going to go up and round. I don't want it to cover that pocket. So I think I'll just have the lace come down to the bottom and stitch it onto the bottom there. So let's have that uneven edge there. Have the nice straight edge up this end. Okay, yeah, don't stick all your edges down until you know you've stuck everything underneath them that you want to. That's mistake number 1. Although I think we've done quite well to get this far into it with only making 1 mistake. So, but yeah, don't stick your edges down until you're sure you've got everything underneath them that you want to be there. Just saying. Okay. I might have to push that into the glue that's already there. This is why I don't make this kind of stuff for a living. I just make it on a whim because it's fun and I think you guys might enjoy watching and playing along. I don't bind books and sell them on Etsy and all that stuff because if I had to do this every day, my blood pressure would be very high. I like that. I might have to do a little bit of tiny sewing along that edge just to hold that lace in place. I'm not convinced that lace is going to stay stuck on that edge, but I can always, I don't think it'd be too hard to just go down and stitch it into that velvet. The secret to doing something tiny like this, where it's on a flat surface and you can't bend it to get your needle in, is to use a bent needle. Sounds obvious when you say it, right? But, you know, use a curved needle and then you can get down in and you can still pull it up. Curved needles normally found in leather sewing kits. Can I say that any slower? Leather sewing kits. That's not going to stay either. It's enough to hold it there, but as soon as you lift it, it all comes unstuck. So, and I think the green out of that, I think the green, I'm not sure, I won't know till it's dried clear, but I think the green in that under that velvet, the green colour of the velvet is leaching through the glue into the lace, which is kind of a cool thing. So let me show you what I mean. I can hold it still, I can get it to autofocus. Let's take the glare off it a bit. There you go. Can you see how there's just very faint bits of green coming up in the flowers? It does look nice, it looks really nice. I'm very pleased with it. This will come off. I've got most of it off, and I've got a little wire brush, suede brush, that I can use to buff that out. It's just the glossy bit of the glue that's left on the fibre, that's all. That'll come off. Okay, so that's cool. Let's see, have we got time to do the front piece? I think so. We can at least cut the panel for that because we know how big it needs to be. So I'm going to say let's do it a tiny bit wider so that there's plenty of stitching room. tiny bit over the edge at the top as well. So this is roughly the right size, but it's too big. But if it's too big, I can square it up. You see, that's where the square of the lace is. That's where the pattern of the lace goes. So this is all straight, but then this edge is wrong. This corner is too far down here. But it's only that bit. So by cutting it a little bit bigger than you need, you actually end up with it exactly right. I'm covered in glue. So I can, that's going to have to be stitched all the way around, and then I'm going to put my my bit of Wuthering Heights under there. Not quite going to look like that, but it's, you know, I'll do it so that you can see what it is. Maybe I'll just use the title page or something. Or I might put a why can I not think of that word? I always want to say perspex, and it's not perspex. Acetate. I might put an acetate pocket, stitch an acetate pocket on there and put the words inside, maybe. I don't know. Because you can stamp over the top of acetate. If you do it on the printing side. So I could have words over the top of words. That would be kind of cool. So that's that one. I do need to put some... Oh, where's my scrapbook? There it is. Got a scratch copy of Madame Bovary here I can use to pull out some pages. It was a freebie. It's not even a decent book. The paper is rubbish. I'm thinking something along this line. I mean, you won't be able to see it properly, but if you held it up and you looked at it, you might be able to catch a glimpse. Oh, Wuthering Heights. And then it'll match that side. Okay. So that's the bit for that pocket there. Now let's do this bit. So I'm thinking maybe what if I use a bit of this as the back, because it's got that brown in it. It's got that bronzy brown in it again, and it's just the right size. And then I can layer bits onto it, maybe a bit of scrapbook paper or a bit of... This is very dark again, you see. No, I don't want male authors. It's not going to be Dracula, okay? It's going to be Wuthering Heights. I've got an A5 one to do as well, you know. I'm sure I can do something with that. I'll probably do that as like Victorian crime type stuff, because then I can put penny dreadfuls and, you know, I can get the screen caps from Dracula where it's got the newspapers. If I do it on a big screen, I can get a screen cap of it and get the newspapers where it's like ship sails into harbour, crew missing, all that stuff. So, don't worry, Chloe. We'll do a more gothic one. Even more horror themed, maybe. But I don't want to be like, I don't want to do like Frankenstein and stuff. I like the true crime type horror. So, but I think I could squeeze Dracula in there. I think that because there was newspaper things. If I can find like newspaper printout type things of stuff like that, then yes. Or like a Penny Dreadful cover that's got Frankenstein or something on it, like that, then yes. I'm thinking, I love this fabric, but I'm just thinking the grey, this and this matches, and this goes with that brown. Grey kind of makes a nice change from black, if I'm honest, because I do love my black, but when you've got black lace everywhere, you want something to contrast with it a bit more. If I did a bit like that, a bit of that, and get some, I'll get some Gothic literature text type stuff, maybe a bit of fabric like that, and just like make it into a like a 3D collage. So the lace bit would actually be the flatter piece. Yeah, I think that could work. But what I'll do is I'll go back to the original plan, because I do like how it looks when you tuck the fabric in under that leather. I don't think I can do it on here. I think there's not enough overhang, and this leather is a bit thicker on the outside. But I can certainly use the frayed edge. See, that looks upside down to me. I can certainly use the frayed edge to add interest to the leather border. Wondering now if I can do something like this, take the rings out and turn it into a Midori. Oh yeah, it's easy. If you go on to Kent from Oz and Filofaxy Phil and Ray Blake have all done videos on how to take the rings out of Filofaxes. They all did different ones because they all had different fittings. So all you've got to do is go and find the one that's got the same fittings as yours. And Kent had one that was like a folio. So you put books in either side. He put moleskins in either side. Phil had one where he literally restrung it as a proper Midori with grommets and holes and everything. He reused the holes because most Filofaxes have a grommet there. He reused the holes to put the elastic through for his book. There's all sorts of things you can do. All sorts of things. I've got a pocket one here somewhere. What's the chances of it being easy to get to? It's been sat in that cupboard for years. Now I want to get to it. I've moved it, haven't I? Oh, I moved it across this side because I didn't need to get to this cupboard. There it is. Stay. Do not fall out of that cupboard. There we go. Yeah. I used the, because mine's a really old one and it has a back pocket, so I used the hole there to string. I had 2 strings originally, and I put the front and back of my Midori Kaiyes on there, and then this one I had slung in there. So I had that one there, I had another one back here, and I had a Kaye in the middle, which sat in that channel and covered up those. Like that. Super easy to do. If you do it the right way, you'll be able to save your mechanism, so if you change your mind you can put it back on, which is what I did with that. Because that's a vintage one, it had a proper mechanism that you could take apart. Okay, what's going to be the easiest way to... Prismacolors, just like dressmaker's chalk. My mum always used to do something really clever like that to cut a corner. Oh, it works too, look at that. Tess of the D'Urbervilles. That's Hardy. It's a bloke. That would make a good theme though, Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Or Rebecca. Tragic Victorian heroines. Madame Bovary. Okay, so this is going to be my base now for my collage. That looks upside down now. Let's do it that way. You're not even going to see most of it, but... Okay, so that's what I'm going to stitch on. I might even, you know what, I might stitch it on the two sides that are really easy to do, and then leave this open as like a little secret compartment. That would be very Victorian, wouldn't it, to have a secret compartment? Top secret, spelled with K. Okay. So what are we going to put on here? Let's put... I like this. Let's put a bit more of this on because this matches the back. Little nod to that. So I want a bit of paper under there. Ooh, that paper doesn't tear. Oh, it does. It just doesn't like it. Oh, it's got a blue core. Look at that. I've never seen that before. Foiled paper with a blue core. Who knew? Let's put that under there, like that. So that's layered on there. I like that. I might fold that over as a little tab. Maybe. That'd look kind of cute. This has got a lovely bit of fraying on the bottom. So let's have a bit of that as well. Let's put that across there. And then maybe a bit further across in the middle. Yep. I'm going to put that nice dark piece there is ripe for a bit of lace on it, isn't it? So let's put a bit of lace on that bit there. But first, let's put... Okay, I'm going to imagine a piece of... This is not the text I'm going to use. I'm going to use another piece of text. Now let's use a piece of text about that sort of size. Maybe there. Yes, that would look good because then the lace will go over all three. Like that. I like that. I'm not 100% sure on this bit. Maybe, ooh, I know. Maybe if I layered it up that way and tuck it over, that would look better. Yes, let's do that. I love that bit of lace over that bit in the middle there. Almost looks like bird feathers. I think this could be a bit thinner. Whoops. Oh, come on. Don't start now. Seriously? Fine, I'll cut you. I will cut you. Does anybody else talk to their stuff when they're crafting with it? Is it just me? Tell me it's not. Ooh, I know what'll look good on here. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, let's fray up this edge a bit. There we go. Pop that across that corner there, like that. That's it. Now the lace will sit a little bit further down, so it'll be across that black bit. Because I really like that black bit with the... Let's put the frayed bit at the bottom. I really like that black bit there with the wings. I think that's really cool. And I kind of like the way that sticks out there. Okay. Somewhere I have some buttons. Where did they go? Those little buttons I didn't think I'd be able to use. I think they've got ridiculous sentiments on, but we'll have a look. Oh my. Who thinks up the things to put on this stuff? Friends Forever. Funny Face. Funny Face. You're not wrong there. Although actually that could fit. Life's Journey. That's right up there with Live, Love, Laugh. It would look very good, just... I suppose I could use the ooh my, couldn't I? A little bit scandalous, a little bit Victorian scandal, kind of. Ooh my, a bit racy. You're talking to your yarn this morning. Oh, okay, that's fine, as long as it's not just me. Yeah, I suppose I could use a little bit of, use the racy one. Oh my. I suppose it fits the theme, doesn't it? Okay. So I feel like I feel like this needs some kind of a picture on it. Maybe this needs to be an illustrated piece, a piece with an illustration on, rather than a bit of... Oh, well, it does say flouts certain deeply established rules. Offended at the level of convention. Flaubert was not a feminist. He was certainly not a socialist. It's amazing what you get on these little bits of paper, isn't it? But if I did something like that, and then what if I stamped an image on it, so it looks like, or if I used a bit that has blank and then stamped an image above it, maybe. Or maybe I need an image. Maybe I need something eye-catching. Maybe I need... Let me think. Let me think. Let's just use this as a bit of something that's got... The goat one's massive, it's not going to fit. The goat one's bigger than this. Maybe if I used a bit of imagery and layered it with the... I don't want to cover up those leaves, you see. Maybe if I put the words there, That would work. And then I could put an image this side. I'm just using that as a placeholder while I think about what I want to do. Let's see. Have we got a... You know what I could do with? I've got a... Somewhere, I don't know where, but somewhere, I've got a... a picture of... Ooh. A picture of... Words! God, it's not that hard, for heaven's sake. Somewhere I've got a picture of an inky quill. An ink bottle with a quill. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Or maybe a wolf. It's a shame he's got lines on him, really. Because that actually would work. What about that beetle? Again, it's got lines on it. Maybe, ooh, I know what I could do. If I move this across here to make this the edge that's got something that's not frayed on it. And let's, should we layer that? Yeah, let's layer that like that. I like that. Maybe put that on the white. I've moved that over there, I can move that over there a bit. Could put that there. Oh, decisions, decisions. And then I can see my crow wing there. And then I could make a paperclip thing, like I did the other day, to sit on there and take a little, let's use that. I'll probably use this somewhere anyway at some point. Could even fold it up in an interesting way and slot it under that, like that. That would be cool, right? I like that. Don't I have a cool Victorian stamp? I do have one of Queen Victoria, actually. Ooh! I do have one of Queen Victoria. It's the only one I have. I could put that there, couldn't I? I don't know what colour it is. I know it's dark. I think it's red. I think it's dark red. I do indeed have a stamp with Queen Victoria on it. I could put that there. I kind of like that bug. It's creepy and gothic, right? Yep, let's do it. Okay, so that's going to go on there. That's going to go layered over there. That's going to go through all those. That'll be separate. I might do a bit more burnishing on that. It's going to go there. So this one needs sticking down first. I don't have a penny black. I could print one out off the internet, I'm sure. I've got a red penny black. I've got a penny red. Penny black would be awesome, wouldn't it? But I have one with Queen Victoria on, and it's only a tiny one. It's the size of a penny black, and I've got a penny red. Okay, and then flouts certain deeply established rules when still unmarried. I kind of like that, actually. It's from Madame Bovary. It's, I mean, Flaubert wasn't a woman writer, but Madame Bovary was banned in about 50 countries. So, in fact, it was banned in most of the Commonwealth. So I think that counts as being risque. Maybe I'll just do Gothic literature so I can put Dracula in here. It's going to be very hard to avoid putting Edgar Allan Poe in here, I can tell you that. I wanted to stick that bit down first. Hang on. Having that there will make that pocket easier to get into. That's my neighbour making a lot of noise. They make hardly a sound all week, but yeah. The thing is, I mean, I love The Raven, and I am a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, absolutely. Love Edgar Allan Poe, etc., etc. However, I really want to use my Edgar Allan Poe stuff in my Alice in Wonderland Poe journal. So I've got lots of bits and pieces of ephemera that are Raven-like, but I want to use them in there. Although some of them are original pieces, so I can... I'm having so many problems with words today. God, what's wrong with me? I can scan some of them for reprinting because they're originals. They are very quiet today, don't wake them up. Let's not tempt fate. They've been very noisy all morning, actually. Nearly driven me insane. Okay. Got a good squish down because it's on a... I don't know if you can tell, but this is embossed. So by squishing it down, I can get that embossed pattern on the paper as well, which is kind of cool. Oh, for heaven's sake. I'm going to start putting this upside down in a cup or something, I think, because it's getting ridiculous having to keep shaking it down all the time. That's going to go across there like that, right at the bottom, so we can see the wings. It really does look like raven wings, that. Obviously I'm going to have to stitch this bit in place because this glue isn't going to be enough to hold it on the outside. Got a lot of sewing to do tonight to get this. I like that. I like that 3 edges there. I can still see my raven wings. That'll have to be tacked. Okay, so this is, I had trouble getting this apart last time. I nearly broke a nail, so let's get something that will be able to do it. Nope, that's not going to cut it. Sort of stars there for a second. Okay. So this goes up through the bottom and this goes on the top and then it's a press stud. Okay, so I've got to make a hole in that where I want it. So I want it to be about, let's have it up in that corner. So I want the hole to be about there. This could be tricky with fabric, but we'll give it a try. There's a trick to it, and the trick is if the back of what you're doing is really soft, put something hard behind it so that you've got something to stamp down into that's got a bit of resistance. So even if it doesn't cut the fabric, it should cut the paper, and then you can cut the fabric out with a pair of scissors. Okay. Oh, not far off actually. See, it's kind of raised. If I go around that, it's still a little bit wet from the glue. If I'd waited till it was dry, it probably would have worked. But these scissors are super sharp. That weird bit of paper that I couldn't tear didn't cut. That's what didn't cut. The fabric cut, but the weird bit of paper didn't. How bloody peculiar. Ooh, yeah, okay, I'm thinking maybe just do Gothic literature, but with an emphasis on female writers. Because I just remembered I absolutely adore Dorian Gray. Yeah, that might have to happen. Okay, so that's going on there, like that. Make sure this is the right way up. And then it goes back together fairly easily. But it doesn't come back off fairly easily, so that's what we want. Okay. I like. And I can do a bit more. Don't ever do this under your camera or near anything flammable, obviously, or under your smoke alarm. My smoke alarm is over there, so I'll be alright. The trick is to get the paper not in the flame. See, it doesn't even have to touch the flame. But if you don't get it in the flame, you don't get too much. I know it's my junk journal, but I couldn't decide what I wanted. I kind of think I wanted originally to do female writers, but now I'm thinking I want a bit of everything. See, I'm not anywhere near the flame. It might look like it from where you're sitting, but I've actually got diagonally about an inch between the paper and the actual heat. The flame, it's singeing it with just the heat alone. Okay, that actually did go in the flame. You can tell because I can smell burning now. Whenever you play with flames like this, do you always think back to chemistry class and the zone of unburnt gas? That's what it always reminds me of. They pieced out, yeah, they're pieced out on the bed. They're worn out because they decided to go off on one this morning. I think that's the problem. Scooby just took a distinct dislike to a dog in the park, who was doing absolutely no harm to anybody. He was a beautifully well behaved Labrador, absolutely gorgeous. And Scooby decided he didn't like him. And this Labrador's just sat there going, what did I do? Maddie's giving him the side eye like, dude, chill, okay? Like, stop it, like, really? In her Valley Girl accent. Maddie's somewhere between a ladette and a Valley Girl, I've decided. If she was human, she'd be like twirling her hair in her fingers and going, like, do you have to do that? Like, can't you just chill out? There we go, that's kind of cool. Gives it a little bit of a singed look. Okay, that's too near the fingers. Come on, singe, singe. Oh, not up high enough, not in the heat. Let's try doing it that way. Come on. You know you want to. There we go. Perfect. I like it. I always was the kid who liked to play with fire and stuff. My mother despaired of me. Pizza. No, we haven't had pizza yet. Pizza and Scary Movie Night. We're going to start watching Penny Dreadful again. Okay, I like that. I think it needs grunging up a little bit. It needs a bit of dirt on it. It needs a bit... Oh. She says, wiping the ash off the table. Duh. If that doesn't grungy it up a bit, I don't want it. There we go. That looks great. Just take the white off the paper a bit. I will put that on there. I might even stick that on there actually and put a paperclip on it. I bought a pack of quite nice paper clips actually. They're not like this, they don't look like office paper clips, they're kind of square at the top and then they've got points. But they're metal like this. But they're all different colours. Seriously, Tim Holtz paper clips, 3 different finishes, look all swanky and antique. £8 if you can find them here. twice that if you have to get it from America, which seems to be where all his stuff has disappeared to lately. Hey Rose. Pack of paper clips, £3 for 1,000 on Amazon, and there's 3 different finishes. So that made my day. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick that, but I'm not going to stick it all the way around. I'm just going to stick it in the middle so it stays in place. Kind of like that. So the edges are loose and it looks like it's paper clipped, but actually it's not going to fall off. That's cool. I might put a little bit of... Ooh, that would be cute. That would be cute. Okay, do I have... Oh, I don't have black in here. We've got navy blue, but that's too obviously navy blue. Use a bit of cream, that'll do. Close enough. Close enough. Don't really care. Find a needle. Oh, that's cool, because I've got a bit of that to go on that other bit of lace at the top now. So that's cool. In fact, I could even layer it up a little bit and put that with a little bit of that and the lace and the oh my god, my brain. What's wrong with my brain today? Book thingy, you know, behind the lace stuff. What the heck is the word? I have so much glue on my fingers. I should have shares in aliens. It's so hard to cut strings off at different lengths. Even when you try, it's really hard. You still always end up with 2 the same length. That's kind of cool. Just looks like it's been sewn on there. I like that. That's kind of cute. What do you reckon? I'll put my Queen Victoria stamp down here and it will just fit just slightly under the lace, so I'll probably put it just slightly under the lace there. That's kind of cool actually. So this is going to go, let's put that needle away before I drop it. It's not clipped in, that's why. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have, let's pretend, have our bit of literature under there, and then that's the right side of that. It's going to go on there like that. And this will go on here, and this will be stitched on, and then that will have a little bit of a pocket, not a massive pocket, just something you can pop, you know, something like that in it if you wanted to, or, you know, hide something in there. You could hide a little note in there or something, couldn't you? Oh, you could do my favourite thing to do. It's ridiculous, but one of my favourite things to do is to hide a £20 note in my clothing. Like clean clothing, you know, stuff that I'm going to pull out and wear at some point, not something I'm likely to give away. I did it once with my winter coat. I put a £20 note in the inside pocket. It was 3 years before I found it. Pulled it out, went, wow, I'm rich! It's a very nice surprise. You could do something like that, couldn't you? You could hide a tenner in there and suddenly remember you have emergency gas money. In fact, you could use that for your emergency gas money, couldn't you? So this is going to be stuck on around the edges, but it's going to be sewn along there. This is also going to be sewn in place because there's no real way to glue this lace. There's no way to glue it really. I'm going to have to stitch it. And then on this side we're going to have a matching piece of lace like that. And I might also do, you know, a little mini collage on the back there, just to, so it's got a kind of a similar theme all the way round. I think that would be kind of cool. I'm just trying to decide, does that look better on the top or the bottom? No, actually it looks better on the bottom because it's heavier visually. Does that make sense? If you put it that way round, to me that looks top heavy because there's not enough here to draw the eye down. Whereas if you have that there and that here, this draws you in, and then you look at that and go, oh, what's under there? So then all I've got to do is decide what I'm going to do with the back. And I think, much as I do like that blue fabric, it's not going to match, is it? So I think I will probably use some more of this on the back, but I might use it the slightly lighter side, so you get that marbled edge on the back. I think that would look really cool. I think it'll go better with this, that side, than that side. This is too much like, it's kind of army green on that side. It looks a bit like camouflage. I don't like that. It's a bit too manly. Whereas this side looks kind of like marbled. And it's black and white and grey, and it fits the theme. So, and I might even really go to town and use that last little bit of cream lace on the back there, like that. And I've got a metal thing, a metal plate that I could glue on there to put a bit of paper inside and put like a word in it or something. Cats have bought Mum new handbag and purse for Granny Gristle Day. What's Granny Gristle Day? Mum said don't forget to put a coin in the purse for good luck. Absolutely. Absolutely. You never use a wallet or a bag without putting a coin in it. I've actually got a pirate coin. I've got a genuine piece of 8 in one of these bags that I pin into whatever bag I'm using. Because I'm sad like that. But this is a 10-cent euro, I think. Is it 10 cents or is it 10 euros? Can't be 10-cent euros, can it? That looks like the Washington Monument, so I'm going to guess that's 10 cents. Yeah, that's 10 cents. That doesn't matter. It's no value to me. It's just representative. Okay. I'm going to leave it there then because I've got a lot of stitching to do. And stitching isn't going to be very interesting for you to watch because you can't really see it. I'm going to keep these bits separate because, again, I can use these bits for a little bit of collage on the front and back, that kind of stuff. What I may do with this, just to protect this paper, because obviously I don't want this paper to get wet and it's on the outside. So what I might do is just use some matte medium over this. That will also make this fabric a little stiffer. If I do it on both sides, actually, that's probably a better idea. Then this will make that fabric a little bit stiffer, so it'll be more useful as a pocket. So in fact, I think I will do that. I should have done it before I stuck this on, but never mind. I will put some matte medium over this and on the back of the pocket to make it more durable. That's the word I'm looking for. Probably should have done that before I stuck everything to it, but never mind. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you all again next week. Have fun, and if you play with your own Filofax, let me know. Tag me on Instagram @Romany. Let me see what you're up to. And as I work on mine, because I think this will probably be my weekend project. I don't have anything else planned for this weekend. So I think I'll probably work on this. And I'll put some more pictures up for what I do. Bye.